Hello fellow collectors and welcome to Long's Toys. Today we are taking a look at the Complete Selection Modification Ride Booker from Kamen Rider Decade. So this was a premium Bandai release, but I opted to wait for the USA version, so I was able to save a little bit of money getting this through Bluefin Brands and Team Rider, so thank you guys for that. But the packaging looks really cool. We have Decade on the front holding the Ride Booker. Obviously this thing is fairly long, although it is not actually fully connected in sword mode in this box. Taking a look at the top, we have the symbols for every rider from Kuga through Decade. On the bottom here, just kind of your typical warnings and whatnot. It does take 2 AAA batteries, and then here is the Bluefin sticker, letting you know that it is the USA release. Over here just says Complete Selection Modification Ride Booker. Same on this side. And then if we spin it around to this side, just another shot of Decade using it, but now in gun mode. So, really cool packaging though. I think they did a really great job with this box art. Very excited about it. So I'm going to go ahead, get everything out of the box, and we'll take a closer look. Alright, so here is everything you get in the box. Well, actually you do get one other piece. You get a little plastic clip that you can put onto a belt that this can connect to. So if you look on the back here, you can see that it has a little nubbin piece. And this is just kind of a gray rectangle that you can then clip onto a belt. And then you can put this in and then turn it. And then you can have it on the side, just like Decade would wear it on the side of his belt. I didn't get that piece out because there's not really much to show off. And I don't have a belt to attach it to. And I never actually wear these on belts. So I usually just kind of leave that stuff in the box. But that's the only other thing that is not actually shown here. So you can see we have the giant blade attachment. So this is just a completely separate piece that's going to slide in. And we'll take a look at that a little bit later on. There is no compressed, folded up version of the blade inside like the original toy. You just have to take out one piece and then slide this in. So I'm going to put this off to the side for the moment. And then kind of a similar thing. This is kind of the extension of the barrel for gun mode that you take off the piece that's on there and switch it out for this. This is kind of an extension piece for the handle for both gun mode and sword mode. So we'll put these off to the side as well. And then this here is kind of an extra brace. In the sword mode, the little handle, and I'll show you what I mean in a moment, but the joint, they were afraid because of the added weight of the blade extension would break it or have it cause, pinching issues. So they gave you this little brace, and I'll show you how this works a little bit later on as well. But those are all kind of extension pieces. This is the actual Ride Booker itself. And it looks pretty cool. We got some really nice metallic silver paint here. You got the Decade symbol, looks really great. Like I said, we have the speaker on the back here. Here's the little nub piece that connects to the belt. Some really nice texture for all these pieces here for the handle. So how this works, there's a little button right here that you push in to move the handle. And then there is another button right here that you press in that will slide off the bottom part. And then you can come around and use something to depress this little section so that this will slide off. And then this is where the 2 AAA batteries go. And then you slide this back into position. And then you slide this back into position. And then you can close this back up. So the on and off switch is underneath right here. So now it is on. We have a button up top here. Now the directions say those are supposed to be card sounds when he's pulling the cards out. I don't really know. Doesn't really sound like cards to me. But there's a button right here that you can press, and then this will open up. So you can see this is where you would put your cards. Now I don't have any Decade cards handy, because all that stuff is in storage, but everyone has been talking about how the Decker cards are very similar, so I figured let's go ahead and use some Decker cards here to help us out. So for this section here, you're just going to pull this open. And I'm always a little wary because I really don't want to break it, but there we go. So that just kind of pulls down, and then you just go ahead. This is kind of spring-loaded so that this will go back a little bit as you load these in. So there you go. Close that back up. Now we have our cards inside. As we go and pull them out, it's going to hit this little button right here. so you can hear the sound that it makes as you pull these out. That one didn't quite hit it, but you can also just hit it with your finger if you'd like. The other thing you can do over here, we can hold some extra cards. So we will just drop these in here. And then this little piece here slides over as a lock so that they won't fall out. And then you can just close this back up, and that will latch closed. Now you can go ahead and hold this top button down. You can get 7 different sounds if we hold it down 7 times in a row. I guess I'll turn it this way with the speaker. And I think we're back around. So those are the different sounds by holding that button down. And then, like I said, it's just 2 sounds if you alternate just by pressing it. But yeah, that's pretty much it for Ride Booker mode. So I guess we'll go ahead and we'll transform into the gun mode. So we'll need 2 upgrade pieces. We'll need the barrel of the gun, as well as the extra piece here for the handle. So you're just going to take this, and you are going to turn it, I guess, clockwise, 90 degrees, and that will unlatch. And you can see that it's just kind of this shape here. You line this up so the light can actually show you. And then you just pop it in, and then you rotate it to lock it into place. So now we're going to take the larger one. And you can't put it in upside down because one of these is larger. Let me get the light to actually hit this. So you can see that one is smaller than the other one, so you can't put it in wrong. So you have to put it in the correct way like this, and then we just rotate it up. And for whatever reason, this one's a little tight. I have trouble rotating. This one goes in and out, no problem. This one, when I'm turning it into place, it doesn't really want to snap in perfectly. But both of these have really nice metallic silver paint, as you can see, which is really appreciated. And then we're going to just open this up. And then we're going to hold this button down here. This is going to slide off, and then this just slides in its place. And that clips into place there. And then there you go. We have gun mode. Very simple. We're going to hit the button here. So you have this crazy rapid fire sound, and it will just keep going as long as you hold the trigger down. And that's really it. That's the only sound effect that it has. Now, if we turn this off and we hold the trigger down as we turn it back on, it will enter what it calls dialogue mode. So we get a nice phrase from Decade himself, and then if we hit the trigger button, so now he grunts while you fire the gun. That's really the only difference. I guess technically when you hit these now, so there are 2 different sounds there. He says henshin with the second sound there. But again, he really just kind of grunts while you make these noises. So nothing incredibly different with the dialogue mode as opposed to the normal mode. It's really just him grunting along to the firing sounds. But I do think the gun mode looks really good. So we will go ahead now and move into sword mode. Okay, so for sword mode, I've gone ahead and I've replaced the smaller tip of the barrel of the gun, but I have gone ahead and left this extender piece for the handle on because that's going to utilize this as well. So all we're going to do is as we push in this piece here, you can kind of see how this whole section will push inward. Then that will allow you to slide this up. So this whole piece comes out, and this is just kind of made to look like the blade is all folded in on itself inside there. But unfortunately, it cannot unfurl in any way. It's just made to look that way. So we'll put that off to the side, and then we're going to take this piece here and we're just going to slide this right in, and I'll probably not be able to keep this all in frame at the same time, but I'll do my best here. So that locks into place. That locks in pretty well. And now we're going to take this and we're just going to hold it down again and keep extending it. So you heard that kind of like clanging sword sound as it realizes that it is now in sword mode. And then we want to go ahead, and you can kind of already see what they were concerned about, where this is, because this is already heavy enough, and now with this added weight, trying to swing it around by this really would eventually wear this out. So I completely understand where they're coming from. So they made this little brace, and what you do is you just kind of unclip it, and then we're going to bring this around. And this is going to just fit right in here, really nice and snugly. And then you just make sure that the clips line up so that it all clips together, which it's not doing. There we go. Now it's all clipped in. So there's two clasps here in the front, and then there's one in the back. And that lends a little bit of stability. Now, I'll be honest with you, I still think it's too heavy. I think this weight, along with this weight, is kind of crazy. So trying to like hold it by this, I don't know how the original toy did it, I'll be honest with you. Obviously the blade was much smaller on the original toy, at least I have to assume. I never had the original toy, but and again, it's a nice length. I can't even really keep it all in frame at the same time. But it looks good, but it's a lot of weight. I mean, between the book part and the blade part. So this does help. It absolutely does help. But I still wouldn't swing it too hard just by this. I mean, I don't really know how else you do it. Maybe really kind of choke up on it. But, yeah, like if I try to hold it like this, like I can already feel the weight does not like that. So I appreciate this, and I think it definitely helps. But I would still, like, I wouldn't try to do it horizontally. Like, I think if you hold it vertically, I think you'll be okay. But just like this, I can already start to feel the weight trying to drag this down. But in any case, the trigger now does make a clanging sword sound. Now I'm still in the dialogue mode, so he is, grunting along. Every once in a while, it throws in a second sword sound. And if you hold it down, you get kind of a third sword sound. So, pretty cool. I'm going to go ahead and turn it off and turn it on again so I can get out of the dialogue mode. Maybe it has to do with the orientation? No, I think it's just random. But yeah, so that's the two sword sounds without him grunting along. And then there's that third sound. So it looks very impressive. I like it a lot. I just think between the blade and the book, it's so much weight that just holding it by here really would be terrifying. So I really do appreciate this. But unfortunately, I still don't even think that's enough. But if you're just going to put it on a shelf or something, if you have like one of those things to kind of sit it in, I think it absolutely would look great. If you're using it for cosplay purposes, maybe stick to gun mode, or just make sure you're really kind of holding it or posing with it, but not swinging it wildly, let's say. But it really does look good. I think this is a really nice set. I think it looks really good. I like the Ride Booker. Like I said, I never had one previously, so I think this is probably the best version that there is. I do appreciate, though, that you can still kind of pull off the gun mode just like this. Like, if you really did want to use this for cosplay purposes, and you had this just kind of hanging off the side of your belt as you walked around a con or something like that, you could still take it off, and of course you could use the book mode, no problem, and you could still kind of get it to use gun mode, but you really can't do anything with the sword mode unless you're carrying around the giant blade. So in that respect, that's kind of a problem, because if you're at a con or something cosplaying as Decade, you're not going to want to carry around these extra pieces. So there is that. But I think if you're just kind of having it as a display piece, the extra pieces really are nice, because like I said, that blade looks fantastic to just display somewhere. But if you really tried to start swinging it around, I think something's eventually going to break, because even with the brace piece, which I do appreciate they did this, it's still not enough. I mean, between the book and the blade, it's just so much weight that this little handle here, especially that ratcheted connector piece, just would not hold up. So that's definitely something to be wary of and to be careful with. I think if you handle it properly, it won't be a problem. But if you just start swinging it around crazy, that thing's going to give out. But I think the sword mode looks great. I think the gun mode looks great. You know, all the sound effects and everything are good. The metallic paint's really sharp. I love the Decade symbol. All the paint applications look really good. So I think this is a really fun set. Now, if you already have a ride booker from the original release, or I can't remember if they did a super best in between, you know, the original and this one. If you already have a version of the ride booker, I don't know that you need this one unless you love the giant sword blade. Then I say go for it. Your mileage is going to vary. I don't think this thing does so much on its own that it's a must-have. I mean, you know, like I said, if you have another version of the ride booker, it's probably good enough. But this is a really nice version of the ride booker, and like I said, it has the extra parts for the gun and the sword mode to really make those pop on their own. So this is probably the best version of the ride booker, but is it the must-have definitive version of the ride booker? I feel like your mileage is going to vary on that one, but it's up to you. I cannot for the life of me remember what this cost, because I ordered it so long ago. But I want to say it was somewhere in the area of $100. That may be a little low. It may be a little high. I don't remember off the top of my head. But I feel like for what you get, I feel it's a fair price. Like I said, I did wait for the US versions, so I did save a little bit of money there, which was really nice. Took a little bit of time to get in, but I think it was worth it, because it was definitely worth it to save the money. But I like it. It doesn't do so much on its own that I feel it's a must-have. I mean, you really get like one attack sound per mode. Even with the dialogue mode, like, it doesn't really have like a bunch of Decade phrases or anything like that. It really just has him grunting along to the sound effects that the weapons make. So, like I said, it doesn't do so much that I feel like you have to have it. But if you've never had a ride booker before, I think this is probably the best version of the ride booker you could grab. Unless you're really into cosplay, because then I feel like having to carry the blade around would really ruin your cosplay. I don't know where you'd hide that thing as you go around the day. But if you just are going to hang it at your side, you can, like I said, you can kind of pull off gun mode. But I was kind of hoping that, you know, there would be kind of like the original mode where, okay, this is gun mode, and then there would be like a sad, dinky little sword that could pop out. So that way, if you were using this for cosplay or something, you could still kind of pull off the old school dinky modes that the original one had. And for gun mode, you can. But for sword mode, you absolutely can't do anything unless you have this giant blade extension. So there's no, like, way to use this as sword mode unless you're carrying this thing around with you. So that's a bit of a bummer. But in any case, like I said, I think it's a nice version. And if you don't have a ride booker yet, then I say, yeah, go ahead and grab this one, because I think it looks really nice and it's very functional. But it doesn't do so much that I think it's worth buying if you already have some version of the ride booker. Like, I don't think it's that much of an upgrade. But let me know what you guys think in the comments below. I want to hear from you. What are your thoughts on this thing? Do you think I'm not trying to be harsh on it, because it really is a nice piece. I just, like I said, I don't think it does so much that I'm floored. Like, it's underwhelming seems too harsh, but I'm not, like, completely wowed with this. Let's just say I'm kind of right in the middle there. So, like I said, let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Please like, share, and subscribe. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. And as always, thanks so much for watching.